Everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabrielle, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. Every Wednesday, I have the privilege to come to you to share really pertinent information. I always say they're timely, relevant, and information that could change your life. So I would encourage you tonight to press share so that you can share this live with your friends. We say money encompasses everything on this show. And definitely part of your finances, when I think about even having my vision board, giving is on the board because that's very important to me. So tonight's topic is giving matters. Why is it important to give? Well, we'll discuss that tonight because there are so many benefits to giving to others, giving to yourself, and so forth. So this impactful conversation is going to make a difference. Let your friends know that we're talking about giving tonight. And we're going to discuss, does giving really matter? So without further ado, I just want to say that I have some great friends who are on tonight. We've been having really, really great conversation about this topic because we are all, I believe, givers. They wouldn't be here if they weren't givers. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to quickly introduce themselves. And then we're going to dive into this conversation because it's important to me. And I'm sure tonight you're going to learn something new. So why don't we start with Barbara Boberf. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I know you have so much going on, but you decided to give to me tonight. So thank you, and to the audience while watching. Go ahead, Barbara, say hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Barbara Boberf, and thank you, Gabrielle, for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, thank you, Barbara, for coming. And why don't we go ahead with Katia.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here with you all. Nice to have me, Gabby. I'm Katia Magni, and I live here in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a friend of the show, and tonight we're happy to be here and talk about a very important topics. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, and we're gonna delve into that topic tonight. So welcome, and can't wait to spend the time with you.
Yeah, definitely. And Lisa, welcome again, Lisa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Worthy. Thank you so much, Gabby, for having me on here tonight. I'm excited about the topic. As you mentioned, we are all givers, so I'm excited to talk about that with you all.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about having a plan, having our vision board. I'm looking here and it says giving. It's the second thing that I do after earning. After I earn money, I give. So let's talk about this because we say we all givers, and I know many of the folks who are gonna be watching tonight or watching in the future, they are also givers. Can we talk about what are some of the characteristics and of a giver, and also why is it important to give? Why don't we start with you, Lisa?
Giving is a selfless act. It's something that you do from your heart. One of the reasons is it's good. If you're a believer, then you probably also believe in tithing as well. So you're giving of that, but then there's offering as well. So something above your normal tithing of 10%. And when you sow a seed, you will reap what you harvest.
Yeah, definitely. Sowing a seed. I know for me, it's huge. I believe the word. I had posted a couple verses that many people are familiar with. You don't have to be a Christian to familiar with the verse. It says it is more blessed to give than to receive, and to whom much is given, much is required. Do you believe that is true, Barbara?
Yes, absolutely. It is true. And then for me, I think if you have the opportunity to give, that means God use you as a channel, as a vessel, so you can be you can be where exactly where God wants you to be. So let's say I give something to you. It's not me personally to see. You see God, I am giving it to you through God. So I think it's a good thing to give, and then to be an instrument.
Yeah, a vessel. Yeah, definitely. I like that because I look at you ladies and I see like the idea of giving. It's just like you get excited, right? You get excited because I know for me, when they say it is more blessed to give than to receive, Don't you think, Katia, that the givers usually get more are happier and they are more excited than the people, the recipients or the beneficiaries, because they know they're doing something out of the goodness of their hearts?
Surely, definitely, because a giver really, a characteristic of a giver is, they're generous, they're selfless, and they usually don't expect anything back, and they do it out of the goodness of their heart. Therefore, they do it because it's almost a way of life, it's a second nature to them. Therefore, it makes them feel fulfilled. It's some kind of fulfillment for them, fulfillment.
Yeah, fulfillment. You said that they don't expect anything back, and I know that's true. When you're a giver, you just give because we all, especially when you were taught. Well, most of us were taught. Many of us were taught like give, sharing. Like I remember when I was a little child, we learned the song share, share, share. Everybody do their share. Sharing with other people, giving, like not being selfish. So because if you were taught how to be that, especially if you saw it as an example, if you saw it modeled by your parents and the people who are taking care of you, then it's very easy for you to be naturally a giver. I know I'm a giver, but I do have an expectation of getting something back because it says, when you sow, didn't you say that, Lisa? When you sow, you shall reap a harvest. How are you sowing and not expect to reap a harvest? Because if I'm giving, I'm expecting something back now, not necessarily from the people that I'm giving to, right? Would you say, Lisa?
Exactly. I think when you first start to share, and sometimes even with friends, whether it's different things that you do in terms of giving, you may expect it from that same person, when in actuality, you may get it from somebody else. So you give knowing that you will receive when it's your time, but it may not be that same person that you gave to.
Yeah. Because some people will never give it back to you.
Right.
So that's why the next question we have. So it's important to give. And I think in terms of like the characteristic, like, the goodness out of the goodness of your heart, just really wanted to help people and doing it. Sometimes for those who have not been taught how to give, they find it strange when you're a giver. And we'll talk about the different aspects of our lives, the different things that we can give, but they find it strange. But at the end of the day, if you're someone who's been taught how to give, you're gonna give. But again, not only should you have an expectation, not necessarily from the people that you are giving to, but should you're giving, what about it being strategic, like having a plan, having a budget? Do you believe, Katia, that your giving should be strategic so that you're not sowing seeds in soil that will never reap a harvest?
Well, there's some, first of all, a well-ordained, I'll try to put it in this English way, charity begins with oneself. Therefore, we have to be able to budget what we have, what we're bringing in order for us to be able to help others. And we have to be happy, be content with what we have before we can even think about giving to others. Because if we are giving and we're forced, or we're not too happy about it, then it's not coming from the heart.
Yeah.
However, the act of giving itself it's something that comes from the heart. Therefore, we have to plan it out of what we bring in order for it to be, let's say, a success for us.
Yeah. So it's great to be a great giver, someone who desires to help other people, and you feel really content when you are able to help somebody in need, or help an association, an organization, your church, your environment that you care about. But you said something about plan, so Barbara, what is the difference between a plan giver and a compulsory giver, someone who's giving because they're being pressured? The reason I want to ask you this question, Barbara, because I know you and I, all of us here, perhaps maybe Lisa, it doesn't do anything, send money overseas. But there are times where you are sending money to families, or you're helping other people who are in need, and there's this pressure. Is it important for you to have a budget, to have a plan, versus having these folks calling you constantly with the constant pressure? Plan versus
That's
compulsion.
that's a great question. In the past, I didn't have a budget, so I used to spend money, and then I decided not too long ago, okay, I need a budget.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then people get mad when you tell them that, hey, I cannot send that amount of money this month because I'm on a budget. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understand. And every change, it's not everybody is used to change. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it's hard for them. It's difficult. It is difficult for me too, because if
Mhm.
somebody called you and asked you a certain amount of money and you don't have that money because you're on a budget, it's difficult for you to say, okay, I can't, it's especially if it is family member. And I think it is so important to have a budget. If you don't have a budget, even though you were working so hard and then so much hours a week, you still you will be broke. You will be broke
Right.
all the time because you have to stay on a budget to be able to help others. Otherwise, you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna have resentment and everything. So I think it's really important to stay on a budget. I
Yeah,
will encourage people to have a budget, even though it doesn't matter, because the outcome will be worth it.
yeah, the outcome will be worth it. You say frustrated. I love the word, and everybody who knows me knows that I love to read the Bible. But I'm sure other religion has similar, have similar advice. Directives for those who follow it. Are you familiar with that verse, Lisa, in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 9:7? It says, each of you should give what you've decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. To me, that's a budget, right? You already said in your heart, you've decided what you want to do, because at the end of the day, not only God, but I think everybody loves a cheerful giver. Would you agree, Lisa?
Yes, and not only that, you feel content. You don't feel stressed about, oh, where am I going to replace the money that I just gave? You're not like, oh, I'm not sure if I should have given that much, but you've given it knowing that it's going to the right place, that you're doing what is right, and it's within your means. I think the key word is within your means. You don't want to give something reluctantly and then you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have given that. You're kind of taking away the blessing that you just gave away. So you're hurting twice. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting because you won't receive the blessing for the way that you feel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What?
And I'm gonna add something real quick, Gabrielle. It's from my experience. When I get paid, and I used to say to myself, okay, you know what? Let me go do my nails. Let me go do my hair before I send money because I wasn't on a budget. And it is so frustrating when you send all the money or you spend all your money. And then after that, you say, oh, shush, I shouldn't send that amount of money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're sending more than you can afford, because it says each of you should give what you've decided in your heart, but also within your budget to give. Because when you do that, it's not out of compulsion. It's not out of you're not reluctantly doing it. You not you don't feel like you're being coerced. There are other ways that people are like Katya, you and I both again are believers. What about Lisa had mentioned, like, giving your tithing and giving your donations to religious institutions, not only church, but other people go to different mosques and other places. I'm sure they're asking for contribution. Do you think even in that environment, you should set in your heart what you're going to give so that you don't feel like you're being coerced or pressured into doing something?
Well, definitely. If I remember correctly, the verse you just mentioned, speaking about the spirituality of giving, then it's what you have to plan it in your heart. That's definitely the planning, because even God understands that you need a budget. God is a God of order. Therefore, he wants to make sure that you live a fulfilled life, and being under grace. We're able to decide, okay, this is what I can afford, or this is what, and God understands.
Yeah, it's important to do it, and to do it with a plan. And I think when you have a plan, just like you said, Barbara, it gives you peace of mind, right? That's what we've been talking about, a plan from day one,
Absolutely.
right? Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the benefits, you talk about the benefits, they're all worth it when you have peace of mind. So yes, we're talking about tonight's, the conversation is giving. Giving matters. It's important for you if you are earning money and if you have assets, if you have, things of value, which we're going to talk about next, that you set aside a portion to give. And for those of us who were taught how to give from day one, I watched my mother going to church and giving. I watched her as a child helping the person next door who was in need, helping a friend, a family member. So because of that, and also other adults who were in my life, because of that, I am compelled. I don't have an option. Even if I wanted to, I could not do it. I'm compelled to help. But at the end of the day, you have to do it strategically and you have to do it with a plan, right? So what do we give? What do we give? What do you have to give, Lisa? What do we give?
Time. Time is one of them. Money. And I can talk
You said
about,
time. What like explain like in terms of time? How do you give your time?
so I give you a perfect example. I actually just recently helped a friend, pick up her child from school. She's a single mother and she's in school. And I said, you know what? Yes, I will go and pick that person up. That doesn't cost anything. Yes, it may take you time. Your time does cost money eventually, but you have the car, you have the means. If you have the possibility of helping someone out in need, time is also a great thing to give, either volunteering for different events. But that's like one example that I just did today, but you can volunteer your time and it's valuable.
Yeah, time. I think sometimes when you're at church or in different environments, you're like, I cannot give money, but what about teaching Sunday school? My pastor is always asking for volunteers, right? Teaching Sunday schools on a Sunday. That's you giving your time to the young folks, the people who are gonna be adults of tomorrow, right? What else do you use your time for, Barbara? How do you give your time away?
I give advices, and I am also a person who really believe in knowledge. And right now I'm working on a project to helping some nurses student in Haiti, and it's back in country. It's, I don't know if people know Okay. So I'm working on this project to help some nursing student who can afford school, so to be able to finish the degree. So I really believe in knowledge. So I feel like it's my call.
Yeah.
So I'm helping them and to get the knowledge that they want to be the person they want. Like if you want to be a nurse, because the same thing happened to me too. When I was in my second year of nursing in Haiti, I couldn't afford school. I couldn't afford school, and then Focal gave me a scholarship, and that scholarship I use it like for good. I passed my third year, I passed my fourth year, and I graduated and I become a nurse. So I said to myself, if somebody did it for me, I can do it for others. You know what I mean? So I really believe in that, and I really want to give my knowledge, my time, my money to help.
Yeah. So definitely in terms of like, yeah, because when we think about it, sometimes we're like, oh, time. Because I remember when I was a youngster, I was saying that to Katya. One of the ways, I didn't have a lot of money because I wasn't working, but one of the ways that I gave to my environment, my community, was I babysat so many children. I've changed so many diapers. It's not even funny, because of the fact that I was part of a church in Winchester, Massachusetts. And that church, it was a community church where you knew the members of the church. They were interested in you. So you had fellowship with them. And so many of them were married with children. And one of the prerequisites and requirements of the church was, if you're a single person, you have to volunteer once a month to babysit for a couple so that they could go out on a date. So Lisa, you helped somebody pick up a child, but me, when I was a teenager and young adult, my job was to babysit for a couple. Every single month, I went to, let's say, I know Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Hi, Gabrielle. I just want to let you know that I'm available to babysit for you. Sometimes 2, 3 kids. 2, 3 kids. I'm like, yeah, so that you can go out on a date and stuff like that. So because that was taught at the church, everybody had something to do. Everybody was helping someone. And I also taught Sunday school. Have you used your time to help other people somewhere? Can you share that with us, Katia? How have you used your time to help other people?
I actually I try at least once a month I love to cook. So I do cook a lot. And what I decided to do is prepare food to feed the homeless in Brockton. So I'll take some of my friends' children and I said, hey, let's go. During COVID, people didn't really want to go near those individuals, but I taught them, put some mask on and so I help like that, and some other organization, for instance, the immigration organization in Boston. I volunteer to help their host a job fair for them, and helping those individuals find jobs. I mean, it's so far it's been great to know that you use what you love and couple that with your time, and you give back to the community.
Yeah, it's so important to give, because especially when you learn how to do it as a youngster, it might be strange. My mindset is very strange to a lot of people, but I cannot help it. It's almost like you cannot help it but give back, because you've been taught from the time you're a child how to look for ways to help other people. I know I've been to places and I offered to use my time, and they're like, really? What's behind the request? And I'm like, no, it's just nothing. It's just like I was taught to give it, and I'm willing to do it. So in addition to your time, many times you had mentioned about why you give your talents, right? Talents. Like to me, the show that I'm doing here, nobody's paid me, right?
Exactly.
So,
and I also have
sharing, right?
And I also have something to add. And then I always look at to myself and say, where that come from? As you don't just wake up and then, okay, I'm a giver. So you have a model, and I think my model was my mom. If my mom have something, she's gonna, but I'm not gonna say it's wrong, but she's gonna give it to you, and then she can stay without anything. But in life, you have to prioritize yourself. If I have something, I'm gonna share with you, but not give it to you all. You know what I mean? Moun kon vin la kay mom, li on connaît en Haïti, li ressorti sou cabane ni, li bay moun nan, etc. Mette nou à terre, etc. Donc fait tout ça capable pour moun nan, sans que li pas espérer rien en retour. Donc je pense que c'est là me prend ça. Parce que si m'te levé nos familles côté moun yo te égoïste, yo pas partager tout à fait arrêté entre yo, m'pas comme ta ka gen mindset ça, m'pas ta comme ta gen esprit ça pour m'aider, pour me partager. Donc, je pense que c'est son modèle que nous suivons qui fait que nous avons out comme ça, je dis.
Yes, Barbara. Thank you so much for sharing, because I would say the same thing too. My mother exemplified everything. The person that you see here is my mother. Definitely 100%. Because even today, she'll call you, Gabrielle, can you do this for my coworker? And I'm like, Ma, am I the secretary? I'm doing it for you, and you want me to do it for them? She's like, but they need it. She doesn't have any kids. I have 7. She has no children. So she needs, especially during COVID-19, she was calling me to set everybody up online, to help them out. And that's why I said I live in expectation. Because when you are someone who's a giver, you will receive, because I've never done anything. I didn't get anything back, because God will always gonna bless a cheerful giver. So yeah.
And before we're done, I have a story to share.
Okay, so is your story about talent, like how important it is to share your talents and money? Let's jump, because we're running out of time.
It's a personal story with my mom, because I'm not gonna be long. It's like not even a minute. I remember I was struggling so hard here, and then my mom back in Haiti. And then my grandma was still alive, and she said to my grandma, I have to call Barbara because she's in trouble right now. And as soon as I saw my mom calling me and I start crying, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I feel like you're not okay. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I'm like, and she said, "Listen to me. For all I've done in my life with others, my kids, petit moi pa ka soufri."
Amen.
So relax. Koto prale yan wap jeno moun ki edo. And to make the story short, I met a lady. Li gen même l'argent maman, li fait même nan même semaine ensemble avec maman.
Wow.
Donc, c'est un bagay qui tellement comme si marqué me dit sous fond bagay la suivre petit tout de génération en génération. Sous fond bon bagay alors. Et même un mauvais bagay tout me passé.
Of
Correct.
course.
That was
Yeah.
my story.
So
That's
she,
good.
that,
Thank
that
you for
lady you
sharing.
met her and she ended up helping you because God, the lady who helped you.
Oh yeah, till now, c'est Maril mkwe ki papa troisième petite moi. Great people.
Yeah, so God basically, she couldn't be here to be a mother to you, but God positioned a new woman, another person. Oh my God, do you have a story? Forget about the timeline. Do you guys have a story? Because I know I have a story. I tell people all the time, I have a Jewish mother in Cambridge. This lady, I met her as a high schooler. And in the same idea, I was like, for all the things that I saw my mother doing and to help other people, we're gonna be fine. And the fact that when I came here, we didn't know the language, we didn't know the culture, but this woman, my teacher, she took me under her wings and really showed me how to do everything, how to apply for college, how to do everything. Basically, she helped me to become who I am today as well, because of the fact that she saw in me someone that she could invest in. And I do know it's because of the way my mother was, a giver. And when you see that, I tell you, I'm always cheerful. I give it cheerfully. I give my time, my talent, and my money cheerfully because I know every single day I said I live in expectation. Do you live in expectation, Lisa? And Katia?
I do. I think one of the things that I remember the most is my grandmother always volunteering for something, helping in a group. And I would always help older people. There's a church in Codman Square. I don't know if it's still there, but back then I used to help with translating things to English for the Haitian group that was there, or helping an old lady cross the street or fill out an application. Whoever needed help, I would do that. And then I remember saying to myself that I know that if I help this old person, someone is going to help my grandmother when I'm not around. Like that was the mindset that was already instilled in me. And then a second part of the story is me seeing my mom take clothes and other things that we have. And when we went to Haiti for the first time, distribute those clothes to children who didn't have certain shoes. And I didn't realize the magnitude of, or see exactly what I had until I had that first experience at 12 years old, the giving experience. And from then, anybody who's like, "Ma film boîte pour Haïti," or "I'm making a box," or "I'm doing something," or help with toiletries for the homeless, that is something that I do happily, with a cheerful heart, because I see the impact that it can have. You can make someone's day with something so small. Something so small as helping them. So it does stay with you. I think that's a cultural thing too. If you do see it, it stays with you. It does. Yeah.
So giving time is important. Teaching your kids how to volunteer, teaching your kids how to go to that married couple at church instead of them flipping to. That's why I don't have a TV, because I've always been busy, flipping to the games all the time. What are they doing to help somebody else? An older person in the family, another person at church who might need someone to help them around the house. A couple who hasn't gone on a date in years or in months because they don't have a babysitter that they can trust. You at the church who have a good kid, you could offer that. There's so many ways that we can give back to our community so that we can be an asset, not just be takers, but also givers. But I think your talents, once you've gone to school, you have an education, why not share it? I know one of the ways that I shared my talent at the church was for years, I taught a class called God, Money, and You. God, Money, and You is the class that I'm doing right now, because everything that I had in terms of my timeline or my agenda, it's the same thing that I'm doing here. God, Money, and You, because I went to my pastor and I said, "Listen, I'm here. I'm getting every single Sunday, right? the pastor, everybody else is doing so much. What can I do to help? This is what I know. I can give it back. So I was able to do that. Now, again, going back to what we said, maybe you don't get back what you give to immediately to the person, the people that you give to. But let me tell you that God Money in New Class got me a degree for free. Let's just put it that way, because when other folks saw that what I was doing, they were willing to invest in me. So what about like giving money? We talked about the tithing at church, giving money to those who are in need. Are you guys familiar? I know as a person who studied taxation, I'm like, Lisa, do you know that you can give $17,000 to each person that you know every year and not have to work and get a benefit from it? Do you know that giving money is one of the ways that you can benefit in terms of like tax deductions, right? Some of the benefits of giving.
Yes, I knew that for like, any donations to the church or any charity organization, but I didn't know that if you give to an individual that you could get that. So I learned something new today. So that's awesome. Up to 17,000 for the year.
Yeah, you can give up to $17,000. They call it the annual exclusion gift, annual gift exclusion for individuals. So you can give, let's say I like Barbara, I want to help Barbara because I know she has 3 kids. I said, Barbara, here's a check for $17,000. She doesn't have to pay taxes on it. And I most likely won't have to pay gift taxes because it's so small. But that's something that we can talk about later on when we talk about taxes. But, being able, like even the law here gives you the opportunity, if you have the means, to give money, not only to your church, but to nonprofit organization. Do you ladies believe that it's important to support those causes? Like, for example, last week I was at Love Life Now Foundation. It's a foundation. You can actually donate to that foundation if you believe in the cause. Do you think that's important as well, Katya?
Yeah, totally. That's important because we have, organization groups of people who apply themselves to a greater cause, and that our support is what really fueled that machine to be able to help either here or even overseas when there's a disaster. And usually you choose a cause that is close to your heart, that's dear to you, that you can relate to, and you sponsor them and help out.
Yeah. Now, going back again to having a budget. And I know in our culture, right, many folks will say, why should you give to people you don't know when you have so many family members, right, Barbara, who are already in need? Why shouldn't you give all your disposable income to them? What would you say about that, Barbara, if somebody were to come to you and say that, Barbara, you have too many families overseas who are in need. What would you want to give to a nonprofit here or to a charity here? What would you say to them?
It's depend on the cause. It depends on the cause because
yeah, it depends. What about, I mean,
it's depend on the cause, because giving somebody money, it's money, it's a big deal. If I give you $50 and then you go buy shoes or you go buy a lipstick or whatever, and I give somebody that I don't know that same $50, and that person go and buy a book to educate themselves, I am going for that person who go buy the book.
Yeah, definitely. And I think about going back to the fact that I'm recipients of many scholarships, strangers, total strangers that I would letters to and say, this is Gabrielle. She's a poor girl, but she's a driven girl. Please give her some money. And so you're talking about laughing, like I'm always dramatic when I write, right? Dramatic writing. And so I would get those checks from total strangers. Many times I will go to a ceremony where you will meet the giver, the donor. So for me, I remember the fact that other people have given to me and they didn't know who I was. So do you think it's important as well for us to give to those that we don't know, who are not immediate families, especially organizations? Lisa?
Yes, I do, especially for like a cause that, again, that you feel close to. Those scholarship recipients, those are for students who are really in need. I am definitely one of those as well, receiving scholarships. That's from somebody who's just giving, who may never know who I am.
Correct.
But it's made a huge impact in my life. So that's something that you can leave your mark, even though you don't know who you're touching.
Yeah. Yeah. The legacy is important because it says, going something back to something Barbara said, you have to have a budget. Said you have to have a budget, and also don't wait until you make a lot more money. Because when you have a budget, you can budget what you have now, because it says whoever cannot be trusted with small things can't also be trusted with large things. Because if you cannot be trusted with what you have now, trust me, making $200,000 or $300,000, you're not gonna be able to do it. Whatever you have now, you have to budget it. Babu, I know you have to go. I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show. I don't know if you have the last word. One last question that I had for tonight was, we believe that sometimes, especially amongst ourselves in our culture, they're like, well, some cultures give more than others. Other people are more generous than others, don't expect. Do you think that's true? Especially given everything we've said tonight, do you think that some cultures or countries give more than others?
Of course. Especially Asian people, no communauté pa nou bay an pil bagay. Moun nan li bon informasyon, li bon temps, li supporte ou, comparativement avec l'autre culture, nou bay an pil nan culture pa nou.
Yeah, but don't you think those some people don't quantify those gifts? They don't believe those are gifts that you are giving. We just talked about the talents, the time, and money. But I know you've given time and money. Like, for example, have had people in the past in my life where I babysat for them, where I picked up their kids after school, where I helped them with a resume, I helped them find a job. I did all that. And that person will say, folks in our community would say, nobody's helped me. I don't have to help anybody because I've had to do it on my own, because it wasn't cash, it wasn't dollars. They don't believe you, and they don't believe anybody's helped them. Lisa, do you agree? I see you.
Yeah, I think people maybe associate giving with just money.
Mm-hmm.
And if we wanted to really put it, time does equal money. The time you spend at work equals dollars, but some people don't register that. They feel like you're available, so it's fine, or you did it because you had the time, when actually you made time that you could have been allocating to do something else. And just to add to that, what Barbara was saying is that we actually send the most money in the Caribbean to our country through Western Union, which is why they're able to charge us so much. We still continue to send. So we're the number one givers through like any of those Unitransfer and Western Union in the Caribbean.
Yeah, Katia, many times folks in certain communities, especially ours, don't think about all the different ways that you help them as giving. So, and so in terms of like going back again to the idea of some countries giving more, like if you were to ask your average person in our community, oh yeah, the white Americans, they are white folks, I will give you endlessly, but our people never. Meanwhile, they're living in somebody's house where they get to get discounted apartments. Or they're getting help when they're in a babysitter. What do you say about that, right? Again, should we learn how to quantify? Should we learn how to qualify our givings?
Exactly. Going back, I think we could, all three or four of us could relate to the fact that our community, our country, being Haitian, we definitely give a lot, and there's an education that needs to be done where people learn to quantify and know the value of time, because you don't. Back home, everybody was available for everyone. The neighbor is always there. We're always available. However, when we came here, then our time was spent differently. We had to work. We had to pretty much set up an agenda to be able to compensate and to fit everything within a time frame. And a lot of people are still not able to do that. And we now have the obligation to help our fellow friends or family members to understand that just being there for you when you need to be when I need to be on the phone call with you for an hour to help you through a situation is being there for you. It's time, and it's worth a lot. Especially being here in the United States in this day and age. And once
yeah, you're right, because I've had Bab on the phone for hours. She's had me on the phone for hours when she needed help. You too, Katia. Yeah, the other day I think it was, right? Today we were on the phone doing something different. And Lisa as well. And you ladies come in here on the phone, on live, on Zoom, and on the show here to help out. To me, that's giving. It is giving because you could have used your time for anything else. So it's very important not only to be a giver, but to understand when you're also a receiver. Because when you're a receiver and you can acknowledge that you're a receiver, I think we talked about that, Barbara. When you can acknowledge that you've been received, again, to whom much is given, much is expected. So when you believe that you've been given, then it's very easy for you to give back. Absolutely. But if you keep telling that lie to yourself, I've heard it from so many people that I have had to disassociate myself with. You keep telling the lies that nobody's ever done anything for me. Guess what? That's when you become selfish, and you can see your brothers and sisters, fellow men, in need of a job, in need of help with children, in need of anything. And you have the time, you have the talent, and you have the resources in terms of financial, and you still turn around and not help them because you have sold yourself the idea or the lie that nobody has helped you. So yes, giving matters, but to whom much is given, much is required. As you are giving, you are required to take, give and take. You cannot give if you haven't received. So I would say, anybody else would like to say one last word before we say good night tonight? Lisa?
Giving is another form of love and loving others.
Yeah, definitely. Out of the goodness of your heart. Yeah, go ahead, Katia.
Well, I totally agree with Barbara. You become really selfless when you give, and as much as we are able to, we have to be able to do good. We have to put in our heart to do good unto our fellow brothers and sisters, all the while thinking about staying within budget and loving yourself first, because you wouldn't be able to help others if you don't help yourself first. So that's pretty much what I think I could share with people today.
Yeah, definitely. And Barbara?
Giving, it's God using you to do his work.
Correct. These are real.
Bon Dieu utilise pour faire travail li.
Yeah. Aider l'autre monde, pas selfish. Because you know what?
Before I leave, Gabrielle, and I'm gonna use your platform to ask for some help. And then in terms of giving, and I'm helping some nursing student at Okai. So if you guys can share the news, if you guys can give, that would be awesome. That would be great, because this is a great cause.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Giving will change your life. I know it's changed my life. Not only your life, but your legacy. Because of my mother, I am the legacy, and it's gonna continue because that's what we do. It will change your life and your beneficiaries, because those folks that I don't know about, who gave me scholarship to go to school, scholarships to go to school, now I'm paying it forward. You're getting it for free because they gave it to me at no cost to me. It cost them, and it was no cost to me, and now you're getting it at no cost to you. So thank you so much for your time. Continue to give, because to whom much is given, much is required. Be blessed always.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you so much, ladies.
Yes, please type, share, make a comment. Let your friends know that we are here every Wednesday, that we are giving. We are giving, and that you need to pass it on, pass it on. When you share, you make a comment, you pass it on, so that other people who are in need of this information, who are wondering, should there be a giver? Should I give? They want to know tonight that it's okay to give, because there is something in it for